Good morning, everyone. Mayo Woodward, I appreciate you guys getting on the phone today. As you know, we're always trying to add new systems to make things easier for you to do business. And I'm very proud today to share some new systems we have within our annuity product suite. We have a few people on the call I'd like to introduce real quickly. Nate Collins, a principal, who is probably your biggest advocate out there for you to help you do business and make sure it's done correctly and easily. He's on the call. And we also have Connor and Scott, both with Capital Rock, to answer some questions and discuss the new systems we're putting in place. So Connor, Scott, I'm going to turn it over to you, and thank you guys for taking the time to be with us today.
Well, I think today what we're going to do is really focus on how do we use the system most quickly and what's the real purpose of the system. The AnnuityWizard really is to do two things. One is to make sure that whatever annuity data it is that you're looking for across product types, it's all available. So the single platform that we have right here is a place where you can look up, caps and rates for fixed index products, investment options for variable annuities. You can, of course, create client cases and look across the entire product shelf. Something that we've been doing now for a little while, and we're really excited to offer at SA Stone, is allow what we call the validate a product. And what that is doing is it allows you right up front to tell us the product that you're trying to sell. Now, under Reg BI, there is a requirement to consider other reasonably available alternatives. And we've worked with the SA Stone home office to be able to essentially determine what that means to our system. The AnnuityWizard uses artificial intelligence, and by allowing you to pick the product that you want to sell, we're going to use that artificial intelligence engine to pick products that are peer products to the product that you've selected. And what that's going to do is A, provide you a list of products to evaluate, to even check, A, is the product I had in mind, does it make good sense? B, to be able to create reason text. Reason text is automatically generated client-specific note-taking. That's something that we're going to take off your desk to a great extent. Reason text is very robust. It is specific to the client and specific to the product. And really the purpose of this feature is to make sure that, one, you're picking the product that you want to evaluate under the rules of SA Stone, the rules that we have implemented into the system, and two, to make sure that you've got those reasonably available alternatives without, forgetting to check mark those. We're going to automatically include those in a report now. So in terms of functionality, what we're looking at today is just a faster and easier way to do something that you could have done before, but it took a lot more clicks. This really simplifies the whole process. So just to confirm, Mayo, Andrew, anybody, you're able to see my screen, it looks like, is that correct?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Perfect. So I'm looking up a case that I've, if I can spell April, looking at the case that I just created just a moment ago. And I'm doing that simply so that we can just kind of walk through the case together, and I'll spend a little bit less time pecking at the keyboard. So basic information about the AnnuityWizard has not changed. At the end of this call, if you have questions about the question set or anything like that, Scott and I'd be more than happy to take those questions. But just to get us started, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the questions other than to say what's new. So basic information about the client. And I guess one thing that I will say here, we are using kind of a filtering approach. I like to consider this like a funnel. The more questions that you answer at the beginning, there's three or four questions that are really important. We're beginning to funnel down the available products based upon fit. So for example, we've already identified the state of issue as Florida. So we're only going to be looking at products that are available in Florida. The other big benefit of the tool is that any of those easy to make mistakes that would typically result in NIGO paperwork, we're going to eliminate those things, which is pretty cool. So continuing down, a few new questions that we have. Now, the documentation aspect of the AnnuityWizard is really strong. And so we've expanded ways that you can use that capacity. Something that you're probably familiar with is the annuity purpose question. So tell us, what are we doing here? Is this a lifetime income play, accumulation, or enhanced death benefit? In this case, we're going to go down the lifetime income track. And then here's the new feature. This is the star of the show for today. This is going to make the note-taking part of the puzzle really easy and the documentation part really buttoned up. So select or validate. If you go down the select category or that track, that's going to be almost like, that's probably the way that you're familiar with the tool. You are using the system to evaluate your entire product shelf, and we're ranking and sorting these products based upon fit. Now, we've always done that, and we're going to continue to do that. But this is for you if you know, hey, this is the product. If you know products really well, I know what I'm doing here. What I need is just a fast and easy way to make sure that I'm doing what the back office requires of me. Tell me the product that you want to sell, the drop down of your insurance companies, the specific contracts, the riders. Tell us what you're trying to do. You're still going to answer some of the questions that we've always asked. And the reason is we need some information on the client to be able to populate that really robust reason text. And I really can't say enough about reason text. It is there to make sure that years from now, if there's ever a challenge to a sale, you've got something that you can return to and say, look, I asked the right questions. This is the information that I got from the client. Here's the product that I picked and all the reasons why it was a good fit. So basic information about the client. I will touch on this one, annual income need. It gets looked over very rapidly, but if you're if you're working on financial plans with clients and you've identified how much income they need, it's just a neat feature. Tell me, hey, I'm looking for, a product that's going to give me $12,550, just kind of something that gets looked over. In this case, we're just doing the initial premium. Now, because we're the only system out there that are looking across all annuity types, what that means is that we have to look into the products and what their characteristics are. You get very strong, robust reason text by asking questions like this. How important is investment control? Believe it or not, this question isn't just saying, hey, VA or fixed index. It's actually looking at the investment capability of the product. So something that has more investment options, a VA that has more investment options is going to have better, more compelling reason text than a product that has a very large managed volatility fund or something like that. Now, a couple of questions here that we've included that are long-time questions. Payments that decrease. If you do not wish to include products like that because it's not really something that your client's looking for, if this is an insurance against longevity type of thing, typically not the type of product that you want to offer. That's just there to remove some clutter. Continuing down, we'll get into the more specific questions here about roll-up rates. This is helping us to model some upside in a very conservative fashion. We are going to tell you what the contractual guarantee is, but we're also going to allow you to show a hypothetical rate that could show some upside potential. Now, continuing down the very bottom section, this is a new button, Save Work in Progress. Now, in most systems that are web-based, and almost all systems are these days, you typically save information by going to the next page. And that means if you never advance to the results page, you may not, you end up not saving what's on there. If you were to hit the back button, for example, it would not save. So this is a button that we've added that would enable you to either partially complete, or maybe you just didn't finish the conversation with the client, you were interrupted. This is a good button to know where it is. And simply by clicking it, it's going to save the data. The progress has been saved. Now, remember, if you're going automatically to that next page, that save is going to happen automatically. It's not a separate step. It's another button that we've added just for sake of ease. Now, on this page, huge difference in what you're seeing. The product to be validated. What that means is that's the product that I have identified as the product that I'm trying to sell. Now, I'm going to close this for just a quick minute so that you can kind of think back to what the AnnuityWizard typically does. The AnnuityWizard typically looks a lot like this section right here. It is ranked and scored products based upon fit. What we did with that one feature that said, I know what I'm trying to do, just help me determine if it's inbounds or out of bounds with our compliance rules, is we've prioritized this product. We've moved it to the top of the page. If what you're hoping to see here is you have all these green check marks, this is the compliance grid. I kind of call it compliance at a glance. These are the individual rules. If you had something that was, the person's age wasn't in the right band, you might have a yellow or a red indicator. And you can always get more details on what you're seeing for these check marks by scrolling down. This is reason text. All of this text, and if you were to print this out, it'd be almost 2 full pages for every single product that we considered, supports why this product, in this case, is a good fit for the client, even when compared to its peers. Now, this button right here is also a new button. If you prefer to read kind of line by line, this is the button you want to use. I think a lot of our users prefer this when they're looking on screen. In a report in PDF, I think this looks really slick, and it's sometimes, I don't know what it is about being on paper, but I like it this way on paper. You'll see it in the report in just a moment, but you've also got this approach where you can read it on screen. Now, you can always download a fact sheet. If you were to click this button, what that's going to do is generate information that is independent from the client. This is not a client report. This is simply saying, here is information on the Transamerica B-Share product. Gives you all the information about all the riders, not just the one that you selected. So That's there. Sometimes it kind of hides on the screen, but it is there. Continuing down, we've talked about reason text, but if there were a red or a yellow option there or button, you would have information in a red square. So blue is informational. It's neither positive nor negative. It is just information about the product. It's still relevant to the client, which is why we have included it. Now, if I close that out, the traditional way of looking at products is a comparison grid, and we will offer that. If you click Compare Products, we're going to open this compare grid. Now, I think one of the big benefits of the AnnuityWizard is not only can you look at these products side by side, as you always have, and really any system out there since the dawn of annuity systems, but what you have is a mile long of reason text for why that product made the short list. So in a world where there's increasing scrutiny on annuity sales, more documentation is good. And what we believe what we have provided with this latest update is a very fast and very efficient way to be able to go through all the information that you need to make a sale that is defensible and that it is well documented. So I'm looking at a product that I didn't pick, but RightBridge automatically, because we're using the same case data, has looked at this product and provided reason text. Same with all the other products there. And if you produce a report, which we'll do in just a moment, you're going to see that. Now, one more thing, and I know I'm bouncing around a lot, but I think on this page, I'm just trying to get into the details because it really is that fast and that easy. We'll do one high-level quick walkthrough before we break for questions here in a moment, but I did want you to see kind of where all the bells and whistles that we've added, what they do, and when you might need to use them. The product summary page is when you need a little less data than the full fact sheet. That's going to be basically a one-pager. Annuity details, income rider details, and then annuitant specifics. So you don't have to page back and forth to say, what was the age of the client? When did they want the income? It's all there. You've also got investment options if you wanted to look at the sub-accounts and what's available with that product. So very quickly, we'll generate a full report. And what that's going to do is create a PDF that includes the questions that were asked, the answers that were provided, the product that you picked, all of the supporting reason text, and then each of the products that you didn't pick that were automatically provided as comparison products will also show up. So you can see this is the validated product. This is the product that I picked. This is the same information that I showed you that's on the kind of information at a glance page. And then you've got a full page of note-taking that we have provided, and about another half a page there. And then here's an alternative product that you could have considered. So I think what you've done, and Nate can probably share more about this, I think in the past it's been you needed to produce an AnnuityWizard report that had at least 3 options on it, including the one you picked. We have streamlined that process for you now. Just tell us what you're trying to sell. We will tell you if it's inbounds or out of bounds, and we will automatically provide comps for you. Now, if you were to scroll all the way down to the bottom, this is where you'll have the side-by-side, and you can see there's actually 6 products here, the product that I picked, and 5 alternatives side-by-side. So that's the same information that you saw in the system, but it's in PDF. And that, like I mentioned, I like a lot of people, I think, like looking at reports sometimes for some reason. It's just easier on the eyes. So that's all there is to show you today, but I did want to show you that same questionnaire just very rapidly. Since I stopped along the way to tell you a little bit about some of those new features, what's the real-time speed of this? We really think this is about a 3 to 5 minute process as long as you know some of the basics about what the client is looking for. So basic information collected across the top. Is this a replacement or a new policy? This is a new policy. What's the purpose of the product purchase? And then select or validate. Remember, if you leave it here on select, we're going to evaluate the total product shelf for you. If you go to validate, that means I know what I'm doing. Just tell me, is the product that I have in mind a good fit for this client? And if it is, great, document it for me. You can see I'm picking out information about the product that I'm trying to pick. So continuing down, the basic information track, after you get down to the initial premium, that's when we start getting into preference questions. This is really what's helping us build out that robust reason text. Combo death benefit is a popular question. That's one that I didn't hit the first time. If you have questions about that, it's really if you're, there's only a handful of products that offer that, but in the event that that's the product that you're trying to sell, it's an important question. And then evaluate annuities. So at this point, if I know, and in this case, we're looking at a product that we know what's going to happen here. We've already looked at this product sale. I don't need to do anything more on this page. Perhaps all I need to do is click download the full report. I know that the comps are there, but I'm seeing green. I got the green check mark. I have all that reason. I can spend as much time on that page ruminating in the information, making sure that I'm well educated on the product. But if all I'm trying to do is make sure that I have this documented, that button, the report button, is going to do that for you. And you might want to just review it here. Say, great, I'm going to save a step. And click this button. So with that, I'll minimize this. And before we open it up for broad questions, Nate and Mayo, is there anything that you wanted me to kind of touch on before we can kind of take some live Q&A, if that's what you'd like to do?
I don't have anything. Nate, do you want to add anything to this?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
Well, we certainly appreciate the opportunity to show you the new features with Annuity product. We know that products are never standing still, and neither are we. We're always continuing to create new features. When we do that, we bring those features to the back office at SA Stone and say, hey, is this going to make the advisor's life easier? Is this something that you want us to do? We're always doing that. We do quarterly releases, and there's always great features. So we'll continue to offer training whenever we have big features. I think this is a fairly big feature. It's going to save a lot of time. And if you've got questions, we're here to take those questions for the next 10 or so minutes.
And while we wait for questions, if there are any, I think there are going to be a few questions, looks like. Can you talk a little bit? We're going to be sending a PDF out, everyone, about this. You want to share a little bit of what's on that PDF and how to kind of read it and leverage it? It'll be coming out after this call today.
Sure. Scott, you know that PDF best if you'd like to kind of talk through that. Not sure if you're on mute there, Scott.
I think he's on mute.
Do you have it available there, Connor, to pull up?
You know, I don't have that one handy.
Okay.
I can probably.
It's in your email.
All right. Hold on one second. Only a curve, but I'll grab it. Hold on.
Basically, the PDF that's going to go out today or later just basically shows you how to log into the system, which I know most of all of you are familiar with. And then also the new validate option and how to proceed as you click and pull the information. So you can do validate on not only the income track, but also on the accumulation and on the death benefit track. It basically walks through what Connor did, and it's just kind of a summary. So we're looking at the age, intended purpose, time horizon, risk tolerance, concentration, state approval, and you get the green check marks on those. It's good to go. And then you get the alternatives. It's currently set at 5 alternatives that show up and show below, and then you get the printed report. So it's just basically a high-level summary of what Connor walked through to give you a reminder or refresher if you have any questions. Anything you'd like to add to that, Connor or Mayo?
You know, one thing that I thought of just as we're talking there, that didn't hit the caps and rates chart. Sometimes that's a good place for us to spend some time. It often gets overlooked. This upper left-hand button right here, they call this a burger menu in the design world, but if you click on that, it's going to give you a couple places where you can go. You can always look at your existing cases, but this is a section that we don't want you to overlook. There's a lot of power there. So we've got the FIA rates chart, and there's also product lookup. If you're looking for that same type of report that I generated that was a product information sheet, you can do that by clicking this button. Tell us the product that you're looking for, and we will generate a report, which is pretty neat. Now, this doesn't have any information about the client. This is purely you are doing product research and you wanted to learn about this product. Additionally, in that burger menu, there's the caps and rates chart. If you were to click on that, we've got these automatic search functions available. So the old favorite, highest cap rate for an S&P 500 with an annual calc period. With one click, I'm going to sort your whole product shelf and show those products. There are other searches, and let me hit reset there. If you were to look at the highest cap rate for a non-S&P or a spread with a participation rate for an S&P 500 index, that one click enables you to very quickly look at information. You could also, if you really wanted to nerd out, you can download an Excel file, there's a lot that you can do within our system. We wanted it to be as flexible as Excel, but we also know that some folks are most comfortable with that. So if you download that file today, and that would be my encouragement to you, is that anytime you're going to shop rates, download a fresh file. We work really hard to keep those rates up to date, but we don't want you using an old Excel spreadsheet. So that's the only thing that I thought of as we were closing there that we didn't hit on, that I think oftentimes is a really neat feature that gets overlooked because it's not a typical part of the AnnuityWizard workflow.
Andrew, we have any questions?
We had a few questions come in. Sorry, guys. Yeah. We had a few questions come in. I'll relate them to you, and then you can go ahead and answer them. Does the client need to sign the final report that is printed from the last screen that you showed?
That would be an essay stone question.
Yeah, Andrew, this is Nate. No, that is not necessary. This report is strictly available for internal use. We do have advisors that do share the report with the client, and we do have advisors that even have the client sign off on it, but that is not required. It's primarily an internal form for the reps to use.
Perfect. And then a second question, where do I find this? It's not on eCustody. That's also,
yeah, if they would just email me, I'll be more than happy to provide them with a link, and then they can save that link and refer to it going forward. So.
Great.
Hey, Andrew, when we send the email out, make sure we put Nate's email on there for questions, okay?
I certainly will.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Well, I appreciate everybody taking the time today. I think we had almost 50 people on the call today, which is great. This will be replayed, of course, and look for an email from Andrew in the next few days with replay information, as well as the PDF that'll go through this that may come out either sooner or definitely by that time. Again, I'll go back to Nate. Nate is a great partner, and Nate really makes an effort to make sure that everything's done the way it should be done and as easy as possible. So any questions, reach out to Nate specifically about this. We will continue to provide updated information as we continue to make things easier for you to do work with these type products. So thank you for taking the time today, everyone, and have a great week. Thank you.